What's good, everybody, and welcome back to another Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash video. And this video I wanted to do this isn't gonna be like a combat video, well, not necessarily, but this video is more so gonna be me having talking points and things that I think need to be changed in the game to make it more of a better experience for the little player base that we do have, you know. I'll go into some system changes that I think, or some gameplay changes I'll say, that I think need to be changed. Then I'll go into character specific changes. And I know how I do. I don't like wasting too much time, so I'm gonna get straight into it. So the first thing I think needs to be looked at in this game is hitbox tracking. Some characters like what's his name, Gojo, a lot of his moves, like there'll be times where you side dash it, and because the hitboxes are like a little bit messed up and weird, he can still hit you even if you dash it. And then there's also like moves where Mahito's like beam thing that he does, where he charge up and shoot the blast at you. That needs to be looked at because it can not hit you, but because the invisible hurt box is wider than the actual visual hurt box, it hits you, and then that's a high damaging move. Then there's like plenty of other instances where it works like that, where attack doesn't necessarily hit you, but because the invisible hurt box is extended, you get hit by it. And the second change that I think the game should allow people to recover from being knocked back or hit back unless it's a hard knockdown. So for instance, when you do joint attacks like these, the computer will probably recover instead of letting himself hit to the ground. Normally, what will happen is there will be a green aura around you, letting you know that you can recover by pressing a button without having to touch the ground. I think the game should allow people to be able to do that normally off of combos, unless it's a hard knockdown or unless it's, you know, it's a curse technique. So you will be able to have the option to do that, to recover at any time, or you can let yourself fall to the ground and get this, you know, little bit of armor real quick for a couple seconds. It'll add more mind games to the combat, and it'll help a little bit with the floatiness and keep things fast paced. And it's never a bad thing to have more options. Again, with that, it'll have like a trade-off. So you can auto recover, but you lose out your armor. So let's say this Yuji, if he decides to auto recover, I can go in for attack, you know what I'm saying? Or if he decides to land, you know, he gets his armor on the ground. The third change I think is, we've all played online and went against the runners, you know, 30 seconds left, they got like a 1 life lead, they just run away. Or you're going against a Jogo, they're just running away the entire time. Or Inumaki, they're running away to get their counter. I think to combat that, what this game should do is, if someone is trying to constantly disengage from battle, it should cost them more stamina. But not only that, their stamina should recover slower as well, forcing them to have to engage in battle and keeping things going and fast paced instead of having to run out the time. Because a lot of people, they pick these big maps and they just do that, and it just makes for an unfun experience, you know. And some people might hate me for that, but that's a change that I think needs to be made, and that'll also help with dealing with certain characters who I'll go in later, because like I said, I'll do individual characters as well. And the fourth and final change, this one is a big one. So me, I'm high ranking, you know, I'm first grade online, and then I'm pretty high ranking in co-op, so I have a lot of experience in the game, you know. I think joint attacks need some tuning. So for instance, when you're playing online, right, and somebody does a joint attack, you know, it sends it into a cutscene. Joint attacks are unblockable. I'm not mad that they're unblockable, because there's no grab in this game, so there needs to be some type of way to get around, you know, block spammers. Or, sorry, not spammers, but people who just like to block a lot. I think joint attacks is a great thing, but I feel like it's overused in online, especially in the high rank. So, to just give a quick demonstration of what it's like online. So, you know how it's, you know, you and your teammate. Somebody initiates a joint attack, you know, that deals about a good 30% damage. It deals 30% damage. The two teammates that initiated it, they go up, their curse energy also goes up, and you're knocked back. So what does that do? That leaves them to go to your teammate, and then what do? Another joint attack. So that's the same thing. So they land 2 joint attacks. They're already maxed out in their curse energy and their meters and their bars off of just 2 things. And then not only that, if I wanted to spend the entire game in like a cutscene or something like that, I would just go watch the anime. You know what I'm saying? So I think to combat that, what they should do is, I think joint attack should have a cooldown. And what I mean by that is, if you land a joint attack, right, I think that there needs to be a 15 to 20 second cooldown, making it to where you can't do another joint attack within that time. What will happen instead, so you see how when I do my joint attack, I go and I'm able to hit them and do a combo and everything like that with some scaling. I think that's what should happen in order to make things, you know, a little bit more balanced out and fair. Because let's say you're playing online and there's a Gojo, because no one ever uses Gojo online. They do a blue, somebody else is attacking you, but while you're blocking the blue and blocking the attack from the other person, Gojo comes in, teleports to you at that, initiates a joint attack, and then you're done. It's a good mechanic, but it's just overutilized in a way, especially in the high tiers, that just makes it very unfun and like not engaging enough. So I think that's the fourth like gameplay, like overall gameplay change that I think needs to go universally. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. Again, be respectful, because we're not here to disrespect anybody. We're just here to try to start a conversation and push the game in a further direction for the little bit of players that are playing it. But I'm gonna go on now to individual character changes. So what I'll do is I'll go in order and list the changes that I think characters need in order to make them, you know, a little bit more enjoyable to go against in the game, I'll say. But before I do that, I want to say that there are 4 characters that I think that are in pretty good standing and are kind of balanced in the game, and that's these 4 characters right here: Geto, Nanami, Hanami, and Yuji. I feel like Yuji and Nanami, they're very good like up close characters, and like they're good at pressure, but I don't think that they're too strong or too weak. They have a lot of linear movement, so being able to like sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Being able to, like, you know, quick dash and jump and all of that, good movement can get around them. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Geto and Hanami. They have great ranged attacks, but they have slower startups on their attacks, so it's a little bit easier to get around them, their moves, and, you know, go and get stuff going. But if y'all disagree, let me know. But I feel like these characters right now, as the game currently stands, they're in pretty good standing. There is an issue that I have with Geto. It's not really a Geto problem, it's more of a game problem, and that was just the hitbox thing, because I noticed sometimes when he does his centipede, it could not connect with you and still hit you. But that's not a Geto problem, it's more so of a game problem that I was saying. But I'll go on to the characters now in order, and I'll let you know what I think that they need. So our first character, of course, Sukuna. And this is going in order, so I'm not targeting Sukuna players, but I do feel like Sukuna's meter, like his curse meter, should take a little bit longer to charge up. You know, he can hit, like, especially if 2 people are near, his attack is already so wide range that one thing, he's getting 1 bar if there's 2 people there, you know? So if he does that twice, he's damn near already gonna be like 3 bars in. And then if you do things like, what is it? I think it's this, that's another bar. Like, look, this is pretty crazy. Oh, I missed it. But his bar fills up real quick. You know, I feel like that should be looked into. And I think his armor on some of his stuff needs to be looked at. Because if I'm not mistaken, when he gets to level... Oh, this should be a level 3. That should not be a level 2 attack. You should unlock that when you get to level 3. The same way Hollow Purple is a level 3. Yeah. How do you do it? Slash. This right here. If he's hit on startup, or like if the armor is broken on startup, I think that the attack should disappear. Because there's times where I've hit him, or like I'm behind him and I hit him with an attack and he goes flying, and you know, my person goes to go track him, but the attack is still on screen. So I died to this, which is crazy. And I think he should gain armor on a lot of his moves once he gets to at least level 2. Like, having armor on everything pretty much from the start of the match is kind of annoying. He already has like a big AoE attack. Like, look at the range on that. He already has like a big AoE attack, that he has teleports and everything like that. His armor is just kind of excessive in this game. Alright, now second character is Megumi. I don't think Megumi is too annoying. I mean, again, he's like not really a puppet character. I mean, I guess you can call him a puppet character. But I think his kit is good. Only thing that I think is his frog. I think his frog, especially this attack, when you do that, there's times where I hit him on startup and I'm like going into combos and the frog is still there and it still grabs me. I think if he's hit on startup, the frog should already disappear because he already has one get out of jail free card with, you know, Nue or totality. But I think if hit on startup with this, he should definitely, the frog should disappear. That's the only thing I'll say about Megumi. Alright, next character is Nobara. Nobara's a ranged character, so I don't think that they should mess with her too much. Only thing I would say is like her basic square move, which is this. I think this last hit, not the curse technique, but I think this third nail right here, she should be stationary. So for instance, you see how I could just like keep moving around with her and just keep going in different directions. I think the way it should work is you do 1, 2, and then the third one causes her to stay in place for a bit. So that way people could do just 1, 2 if they want to do something. But the reason why I think that that's a big change is because look, 1, 2, and then she hit with that third one, it goes into her curse technique, which puts the nail in you, and then she can go do that. Well, it didn't work because he had the armor, but go 1, 2, and then stationary on the third. 1, 2, stationary on the third. Again, more mind games, and we'll have it a trade-off. So if you want the mobility, you won't be able to do the exact extraction and get the nail in people. 1, 2, 3, and then that third one should be stationary. That's the only change that I can think of really with her. I think everything else just kind of fits the character that she is, and I don't think anything else really needs to be touched. Alright, the next character is Gojo. As annoying as Gojo is, I think the real problem that I can say with Gojo, I can't set the computer to block, but like on a lot of his teleport stuff, like let's say if you were to block that, the move will literally send you that far. You know, the move will send you that far. So I think with Gojo is on his moves, especially his ones that teleport, I think the knockback should be reduced. That way it gives people a chance to come in for a dashing punch attack. Because again, he could just teleport to you anyway. So what he does is he do that, you block it, you try to move, he goes in with a different teleport, goes in with a different unblockable, and then yeah, you can try to dodge or something like that. But Gojo's attacks are so fast that a lot of the times you will either trade or he will hit you with his attacks first because he is that fast. So I think they should reduce the knockback on block so he's not as safe with moves. I think blue, I think that should take 2 bars instead of 1 to prevent people from just spamming it on wake up. You know what I'm saying? You just do that, then just do another one. So imagine how it is when you have all your bars. So with Maki, I think Maki is she's also another character I think was pretty balanced, but there's one thing that I'll say with Maki is reduce these kunai range. I think this need more of a drop off range because this is again pretty crazy. This is a bigger map too, so imagine like a smaller map, she can just hit you with that. And the problem isn't necessarily with this mainly, but it's the fact that she can hit you with that, knock you out of attacks, go back to fighting whoever she's fighting. But also if somebody were to do a joint attack, she can just throw that and then connect, and then it'll initiate the joint attack. This goes back into what I was saying about the joint attack problems earlier. But that's the only changes that I have for Maki. Inumaki is also another character that I think that they're pretty good. The only problem that I have with Inumaki is, again, the runners. They just run and then you try to engage them and they go to that. But I think that that can be fixed with, again, like I said, the having people run. But there's also a bug that I've noticed with him. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this or experienced this with him. But when he goes into his counter, if you're behind him and you hit him, you still get hit with the counter. And I think that needs to be looked at because it's happened to me multiple times. And that counter move, it does a lot of damage. So that's the only thing I think needs to be looked at with Inumaki, honestly. Alright, so next is Panda. I think Panda's in pretty good standing. He's meant to be a brawler powerhouse type character. My only problem with Panda is I think when he goes into gorilla mode, at least when he's in stages or cursed energy 1 through 2, his yellow armor should be red instead. For anybody who don't know the difference, yellow armor, what it does is you can't be staggered until it runs out. So that goes for even if you do yellow attacks. If somebody does a yellow attack, they won't be staggered or anything until either the move finishes, or in Panda's case, until this move ends. Unless you're hit with, you know, like a curse technique, you know, that's different. Red armor, like what Sukuna has, it can be broken when enough damage is done to it. So I think when Panda is in stages 1 through 2 with his curse energy, he has red armor and still like pretty high. Like I'm not saying one hit should, you know, break it. You know, I think it still should be in a way where it can be broken with a lot of attacks. But it'll have a trade-off, so Pandas don't just go Unga Boonga, because his basic attacks already do so much damage. Like, look at that. That was just a regular square, and I'm at level 1. You know what I'm saying? And then, let's see. Look at this. You know, so to be able to have so much armor and everything at level 1 and 2, and then not being able to combat it unless you're doing a curse technique, and he can just close the distance easily. Yes, it's kind of, that's the only change that I think Panda needs. Okay, so with Todo, I don't know if this is a glitch or if it's intended, but sometimes when Todo does this, you know, rock throw, if I dodge it or like kind of like I'm blocking and do like a sway, he still teleports to the rock. And again, I don't know if it's a glitch or if it's intended, but if it is a glitch, it needs to be patched out and fixed. And if it's intended, I don't think that's a good mechanic, because again, when you do things like this, it leaves you vulnerable for attacks, and I shouldn't get punished for doing the right move. You know, I shouldn't get punished for countering correctly. But outside of that, I think Todo's a pretty good character. Alright, so Yuta is a tough character because Yuta is so boring and swagless in this game, alright? But I think what they should do with Yuta is shorten how long Rika is out. Rika is out for way too long, considering how much damage she does, how she breaks any attacks that's going against him. She's out for way too long. I think the time that she's out needs to be shortened. That's the only thing I would say about Yuta. Outside of that, he's, you know, just boring, sauceless Yuta. There's not no other changes I think that the character need, you know? Alright, the next character is Mahito. Mahito, big changes that I think with Mahito will more so come from the running nerf that I said earlier. That would affect him a lot and make it to where he actually has to engage, because Mahito has some pretty good moves, but you just don't see it because they just run around all the time. But the thing I would say Mahito needs a nerf on is this move right here. This move, also the hitbox on this is very broken, and it actually has a very wide invisible hitbox on its sides that you can't see, but that needs to be tuned. And I think this move, I would say the damage on level 1 can be toned down a little bit. Or level 3. Level 3, I think the damage overall, like, I wouldn't be mad if on all levels it's reduced, because of the amount of range that he has, and the damage is kind of crazy on this move. But that's all I can say for him. And next on to Jogo. A lot of people might get upset at this. And again, I don't use Jogo. I want to make that very clear. I don't think the problems with Jogo necessarily stem from the individual character base. It's what I said earlier about the running and people evading and doing all of that. Because Gojo is meant to be a hit and run kind of character, but mix his play style with the game mechanic, not punishing enough people for wanting to constantly run. Again, you see where it goes wrong. Only thing I would say about Jogo is I think the range on this attack, I get it's a slow startup, but I think this range is pretty ridiculous. I think I need to be a little bit more up. Look, just a micro step. Yeah, look, like that's still pretty crazy range. I get it's a slow startup and everything like that, but that move also has some pretty decent tracking. I think they need to fix the hitbox on it. Again, like I said earlier, the same thing with Mahito's move. The invisible hitbox on the side is just a little bit too much. This one hurt. This one hurt because it's my main, but I gotta be fair. SO, I think summoning or like giving Ketsuzu commands should take more curse bar. So you see how I use it and it only does half a bar. I think it should do at least 1 bar, because look, when you're near people, he already attacks on his own. That deals damage. He's a get out of jail free card, so if somebody's attacking you, you can use that. And then look, all I need to do is just be around a person, and then he's just gonna attack them without me having to give commands. So mix that with the fact that I don't necessarily need him to be able to do good damage. You know, I don't really need him to be able to do good damage with this character. And another thing is also hitbox. Not more so the front hitbox, but same thing that I said about Mahito and Jogo. The side of the moves, it feels like it extends out a little bit further than it needs to. Look, I didn't do no command on them. But yeah, that's it for this video. I appreciate everybody for coming through. I appreciate the love and the support that we've been getting on the channel in general. It means a lot. I'm happy that y'all been enjoying it. Let me know some changes that y'all want. Let me know if y'all agree. Let me know if y'all disagree with any changes. Let me know what y'all would like to see. And I'll catch you all in the next one. And also, be respectful. There's no need to be rude down there. Just let me know how you're feeling. But I'll catch y'all all later. Peace.